Okay. Um, Thank you. Welcome to today's class. Um, I will continue on the Java um, introduction to programming, and our focus is on Java. So, and today is our second day in this lecture, or consider this as our second lecture. In the previous lecture, we talked about computer. We talked about how a program is executed from the RAM, from the hard disk where it is stored to the RAM and to the CPU and to the display outlet, whether a printer or a screen, or any other display outlet that you may have. So today we're going to be talking about how we were able to set up our environment in our previous class, how to install the Java compiler, the JDK, how to install a text editor and an IDE that you can use. And today we are going to be going into simple things, basic things that you need to know in Java. And we have divided this lecture into two. We have the structure, that's we have the syntax and data types. So those are the things we are going to talk about. In this first screen, we are going to be sharing on the data type and on the syntax. So, but briefly, let's look at our objective. The objective is so that you will understand Java's basic syntax, including comments, keywords, identifiers. Secondly, is so that you will learn about primitive data types as listed here, primitive data types as listed here, so that you will learn about them. Bytes, shorts, ints, and all that, the Boolean. You also learn how to declare variable and initialize the variables. Then in the second part, we will talk about operators, arithmetic, relational, logical, assignment, and unary operators. And then we'll talk about typecasting and type conversion. And then we'll also look at how to get user inputs from the console using the scanner, Java scanner class. Then we'll also talk about how to display output in the console. And if possible, as we may have time, we will now do a practical on performing arithmetic operations using increment and decrement. So learning outcome, we want to teach you to the point that you will learn how to write structurally correct. That is what this word means, synthetically correct Java code for basic operation. You should be able to select the appropriate data type for different kinds of data, perform calculation and data manipulation using Java, interact with the user through the console input and output, then handle data type conversion correctly. So these are the things that you are expected to know at the end of today's class, or you are expected to be able to do very well at the end of today's class. Remember, I said you want to ask a question, you can raise your hand. If you raise your hand, I will unmute you so that you can talk. Then let's look at Java Basic. So basic structure. So when we talk of structure, we are talking about syntax. When we talk of syntax, we are talking about structure. And Java structure is like that of C++. It's like that of C++, akin to that of C++. Java is case sensitive. We'll discuss this when we talk about identifiers, and it follows a structured approach. So in this session, we'll discuss some of the components of Java programming language with regards to the structure of Java programs. So the first thing we are to learn is comments. What are comments? Comments are text that you use to explain the code to make it more readable. Comments also help the programmer to know what a particular block of code is doing. It is also worthy of note that the Java compiler ignores comments. There are basically three types of comment, three forms of comments in Java, as we will see. The first type of comment is the single line comment. And use double slash like this to represent the single line comment, as you will see here. As you will see here now, this is a single line comment. This is a code example. This is another single line comment that is this in the same line with a variable that has been declared. So this is an example of a single line comment, as simple as that. Secondly, you see, you can see why we said that we are going to learn about Java Basic. Then secondly, we have what we call multi-line comment. Now, multi-line comment start with a slash and an asterisk. A slash and an asterisk. And it also ends with a slash and an asterisk. You can see the example here. This is what you will see in Java, but if assuming these two things are not here, it will still work. Those are just the decoration that some IDs will give to it or some programmers will like to put. But what is more important in this comment is this first one and this last one. So you can have as many lines in between them. So that's why we say it is multi-line comment. It can span through multiple lines. Then 3 is used, it's like the multi-line, but it's used for documentation. And how do you do it? It starts with 2 asterisks, a slash and 2 asterisks. It is what we call the Java doc comment. It is used to generate API documentation in Java. So it starts with a slash, 2 asterisks, and ends with an asterisk and a slash. You can see the example here. This is a Java doc comment. So those are the 3 types of comments we have in Java. Then the next thing we are going to discuss is keywords. Keywords are what we call reserved words. You cannot use them for any other thing. They have a predefined meaning in Java. It's also applicable to other programming languages, but each programming language have its own keywords that are key, that are different, that may be different from another programming language. So whenever you hear the word keywords, you are talking about reserved words, words that have a meaning to that particular language, words you cannot use as name of identifiers and variables. Those are the kind of words we are talking about. So example is public in the case of Java, public, class, static, void, main, int, if, else, while, super, return, this, and many others. So you will encounter them since we wrote our first code. You will see it in action. You see them in action. Keywords are very important. Then the next one is what we call identifiers, or the most basic identifier is a variable. So identifiers are names given to classes, given to methods, given to variables, given to packages and interfaces in Java. not only in Java, in other programming language, but it's just that we're using Java as what we are going to, the program we wish to use to interpret whatever we are saying. Now, the following, every program have rules, every programming language have rules for identifiers. So for Java, these are the rules that you must follow. It can contain the general most important rule of identifier is that it can contain uppercase. It can contain lowercase. It can be a mixture of both of them. It can contain digits. It can contain underscore. It can contain $sign. But it must begin with either a letter. It must begin with either a letter, or an underscore, or a $sign, but not a digit. Don't start with a digit. Can start with a letter, underscore, $sign. It cannot be a keyword. We have said that keywords are used for other stuff in Java. They mean another thing. They are case sensitive. Identifiers are case sensitive. Just like my variable, where you are using what we call the Pascal case, and my variable, where the V here, the only difference here is that the V here is small letter, the V here is capital letter, uppercase, lowercase. So that brings a difference. So Java, if you name your variables like this, Java will see them as two different things. There is no limit to the length of a variable, but try as much as you can to keep it reasonably short and descriptive. Descriptive in the sense it means, for instance, don't just write, maybe you want to create a variable that will store the name of a student. Don't just write student. Or don't just write SUD. Write it student name. Student name. Okay? As the name of the identifier. That's what it means. If somebody sees it at a glance, it's descriptive enough that what this variable is storing, what this class is doing, is concerning a student's name. So to be specific, these are the conventions you need to follow in some areas. One, for classes in Java, the class must start with an uppercase. Subsequent words should be capitalized. Subsequent words should be capitalized. That is what we call Pascal case. So you can see it here. The first one is capitalized. Another word that you want to use to attach to is capitalized. For example, my class, string processor. So you can see it from here. Then the next one is methods and variable. Like we said before, they will start with a lowercase. Subsequent one can be capital words. Start with a capital word, and we call that one camel case. So calculate sum, first name, just like I gave example of student name. Then we also have constants. Constants should be all keywords. Constants should be all capital letter. But just like we have in Pi, but you can separate two words with an underscore. Then we talk about the primitive data types. Primitive data types, these are, one, you need to know that Java is strictly typed. Some people call it strictly typed. Others call it strongly typed. So Java is one of the languages that we say is strongly typed. So you may see these two words. An example of a language that is not strongly typed is JavaScript, Python. They are not strongly typed, but Java is strongly typed. What does this mean? It simply means that you must declare the data type of any variable that you're creating. So when we say primitive data type, we are talking about the most basic data types that are available in Java. These are not objects or object-related data types. These are variables that store data type that store actual values. Okay. So an example is bytes. Size of bytes in bytes is 1. This is the range from -128 to 127. Default value is 0. Byte example is B equal to 10. That's an example for bytes. Now, we also have a data type called shorts. As you can see them in the table, int, long, floats, double, char as for character, boolean. Boolean always gives only 2 values, true or false. So for the primitive data types, the integer types are the bytes, shorts, int, and long. That is for whole numbers. While the floating point types are float and double for number with decimal points. Double is generally preferred for precision. Then the character type is char, Boolean type is bool. So what is a variable? We are talking about declaring a variable. What is a variable? A variable is a name given to a memory location. A variable is a name given to a memory location. Before using a variable, you must declare it, specifying its data type and name. Specifying its data type and name. So for those of you that did course 102, course 201 very well, some of these things we are saying should not be a challenge to you. Then also, how do you declare a variable? You state the data type, and the name of the variable. You state the data type and the name of the variable. I think somebody raised the hand. Idika, I'm going to unmute you. Are you guys hearing me? Let me be sure. Are you guys hearing me? Idika, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Let me check another person. Frances, one we here. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear
Frances.
you.
Okay. So
I can hear you.
let's go back and continue what we are doing. Okay. So in the last screen, I was talking about how to declare a variable. Now, you first state the data type, then the variable name with this semicolon that we say must end every statement in Java in our last class. So this, for instance, this is the data type. Int is the data type here. Int. Then you have student count. Then you have semicolon. This is a variable declaration. Then the other one is double price, semicolon. Boolean is active, semicolon. Car gray, semicolon. Now, we can also talk about initializing the variables. Initializing means assigning an initial value to a variable. It can be done in various ways. In fact, I discussed two ways, which are the primary ways you can initialize a variable. First, you initialize the variable in one line. So meanwhile, in the previous video, or previous slide, we were talking about just the data type and variable name and semicolon. In this one, that we want to initialize all of them together. So you see data type, variable name age, then an assignment operator, and the value that is assigned to it, and a semicolon. So in this case, we are initializing the variable and we are declaring the variable and initializing it in one line. This is also applicable here. We are initializing a string variable and giving it the name as name, and then assigning the value of Alice to it. Then this is another one, float, data type, temperature, name of variable, value 98.6 Fahrenheit, and then semicolon. We have the Boolean data type is login value 8. So you can see all these ones. We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. All of them, they both declare the variable and initialize it at the same time on one line. Now, another thing you can do is to initialize the variable and give it the value. Initialize the variable on one line, give it the value on another line. This is also a way of initializing, of declaring and initializing variables. Okay. So any questions so far? Any question? If you have a question, raise your hand before I move into the second part of the lecture. If you have a question, signify before I move into the second part of the lecture. If you have a question, signify before I move into the second part of the lecture. Okay, so if there's no question, let's move into the second part. So in the second part, we'll be talking about operators. we're talking about operators. Operators are special symbols that perform operations on one or more operands. Let me give you a simple explanation of all the grammar that is going on there. Now, this is an operator. The plus there is an operator. B here is an operand. A here is an operand. So the plus is performing an operation on both A and B. A is an operand, B is an operand. The plus is for addition. So under arithmetic operators, when we say arithmetic operators, we are talking about operators that are used for mathematical calculations. Operators that are used for mathematical calculations. And one of them is the plus. Another one is for subtraction. Another one is the asterisk for multiplication. Another one is for division, integer division. Please take note of this integer division. Another one is modulus. What modulus do is to give you a remainder. If here there's a division, let's say you have to divide 5 by 2 or anything, it will give you the value of the division. Here, modulus will give you the remainder of that division. Relational operators, we use them to compare two values. We use them to compare two values. They always return a Boolean result, either true or false. So you have double equal to, and you have not equal to. Marvelous, right? Is it marvelous or Marvis? Marvis, are you the one that raised your hand? So please, I've unmuted you. Go ahead and talk. Melvis. Okay, it's marvelous. Marvelous, go ahead and talk. I've unmuted you.
Okay. So please, your screen, we can't see it any longer.
Okay, so let me stop sharing. So all these were the second part I started. You have not seen the screen. Okay, never mind. Let me stop and start again. Okay, just a minute. Let me share my screen again. Can you see it now? Can you see the screen now, Marvelous?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you can drop your hand. Unless there's another thing you want to say. Marvelous, your hand is still up. Okay. So he's not saying anything again. So we are talking about what we talked about before. Let me go back. Is operators, and I'm saying use them to do operation. I talk about the one we highlighted as purple. We said for we have different types of operators. We have arithmetic operators to start with. Those are the basic operators. They are going to see every time when you are using any programming language. And one of them, the basic one, is the plus sign. The plus is used for addition. So when we talk about using special symbols, there are special symbols for performing operations on one or more operands. These are operands. The one we highlighted in purple, A and B are operand. The plus or the addition sign is the operator. So we moved here and we showed more operators, the minus, which is subtraction, asterisk for multiplication, slash for division, then percentage, as you can see in the keyboard key, is for modulus. And I explained that the division here is for integer division, and this one is also for the modulus. It gives you a remainder of whatever you are dividing. Now, we also have, that is arithmetic operator. We also have relational operators that you use to compare two values. Use relational operator to compare two values. And for instance, you have the equal to. The answer, the result of relational operators is always a Boolean, either true or false. So you have equal to, not equal to. As operators, you have greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. Then you have logical operators. They are used to combine or negate a Boolean operation. So if this is true and this is true, do this. If this is false and this is false, do that. That's where you use them. So you see here, this is the logical OR. This is the logical OR, kind of an apostrophe. Then this one is double ampersand. Then this is logical not, logical not, exclamation mark. So we also have assignment operators. Assignment operator equal to, plus equal to, add and assign, minus equal to, subtract and assign, multiply and assign. All these are assignment operators. And you see how they are used here and the meaning here. This one means x plus 3. So you are going to be seeing all these things, either in your code or other codes you will come across online or anywhere, and you should be able to understand them and to use them also. So you have divide and assign, modulus and assign. Then you also have urinary operators. These operate on a single operand. The plus x minus x. These are unary operators. And assuming x is 5, it will tell you that x is a positive 5 or x is a negative 5. They have plus plus, minus minus. So either you use it for post increment before something is done, or increment after something is done. We're going to be seeing all these things as we do some of the practical sections. So, or decrement before something is done, post decrement, pre-decrement, decrement before something is done, decrement after something is done. Now, I've taken my time to make sure that you understand this pre-increment and pre-decrements. The operation is performed before the action is used in the expression. Pre-operation, this operation, anytime you use it like this, means you want the thing to happen first before you can use the result to do another thing. But if you use the other one, it means you're saying that do the thing first. So you can see, for instance, int is equals to 5. Int b is equals to plus a, which means a becomes 6, then b is assigned to 6. Plus means you're adding 1. You're incrementing it by 1. So it will tell you this is the value of a, and this is the value of b. So if we run this, what you are going to see is a. Now, let's just do a simple, okay, maybe we'll come back to that to do a simple practical on all of this. Maybe somebody should remind me. Then post increment, this is, so y is assigned 5, and then before x is incremented, and if x is incremented, it now becomes 8. It now becomes 6, sorry. So you have the output of 6 and 5. So that is how it works. So we are almost getting to the point where we stop talking, and then we do touch some practical within the time frame that we have. So we want to talk about one last thing: typecasting and conversion. What we are simply saying here is moving from one data type to another. It can be done in 2 ways. One of the ways is what we call widening or implicit casting or implicit conversion, also known as automatic type conversion. It happens when converting a smaller data type to a bigger or larger data type. Java automatically handles this because there's no loss of data. Well, if you are moving from byte to short, from short to char, from char to int, from int to long, from long to float, from float to double, it is implicit. You are increasing the weight of the data type or of the data. So if you are moving, you are changing a value in the data type, you are changing the data type of a particular value. Java assumes that you are increasing it, so it does it automatically. I will call that widening or implicit conversion or automatic type conversion or automatic type casting. But most times what you see is the other one that you need to do, which is narrowing. But I have some code here. My int is equals to 100. My long is equals to my int. Now this is, the int will become long automatically. My double is equals to my long, implicit. So if you say system.out.print, this one will give you, my int will give you 100, my long will give you 100, my double will give you 100.0. Then you also have the narrowing, like I talked about. This one, you do it manually as a programmer. Manual conversion. It happens when you are trying to convert a larger data type to a smaller one. This may result in data loss. So you must explicitly convert or cast the value using parentheses. What do I mean? For instance, this is my double. My double is 9.78, and I want to change it to int so that I can use it for something, somewhere, somehow. What do? I will put the variable that I want to create, int my int, then put int in parentheses, in brackets, and then put the variable that I want to change. This brings 9.78 to 9. This is a large int, and I want to bring it to byte. So I'll put byte as the data type at the back before putting the value there. Important note, please be cautious when narrowing conversions as they lead to unexpected data loss, unexpected results. So before you do casting, you should be careful. So the last but not the least thing we are going to discuss is getting user input from the console scanner, from the console using the Java scanner class. So the first thing you do is to import the scanner class, which you do by import java.util.scanner. Then the next thing you do is scanner new scanner is equals to new. You create an object of the scanner class, and you do that by typing scanner with capital letter, then a second one, small letter, capitalize the first word for the first one because it's a class. Then this is the variable. You are now creating a class of an object of the scanner class and naming it scanner. Some people who are learning newly will say, can't we name this scanner another thing? Yes, you can name it another thing, but this is the convention in Java, so there's no point. You discover a new thing, all this while you'll be seeing system out to print, which means Java is now saying that for you to get something in, you have to use system in. Then we can use all this scanner method, next int to read an int, next long to read a long, next float to read a float, next double to read double, next boolean to read a boolean, next byte, and so on and so forth. Then when you are done, you close the scanner. So I've been able to put together the code, which we are also going to run as we go to the practical section. So important notes. Okay, for the sake of those that may be writing, we give some time. This is the first part, import.java.util.scanner. This imports the scanner class, then public class, user inputs, example, getting user input, whatever name you want to give to it, public static void main, string args, then scanner inputs, the scanner creating the object of the scanner, and then we tell the person enter your name as a display in the console. Person enters the name, and then we ask the person to enter the age. Person enters the age, we print it out. System.out.print height and all that, then we collect it. So you watch that for each question you're asking the person, there is an input that is collecting it. Next line, next int. So when you are collecting strings, what do you use? Next line. When you are collecting integer, what do you use? Next int. When you are collecting double, what do you use? Next double. You can see where all those scanner methods are coming in. Then you now print out your information, name, age, height. Then you now close the scanner with your double semicolon as usual. Important note on next versus next line. Next reads input up to the last white space character. Next line reads the entire line, including spaces, until the new line character is encountered. So for instance, if you are using only next, and maybe you type something and give a little space, it's going to have problem, and so you will not be able to use it. So when mixing next in, next double etc with next line, you might encounter an issue where next line automatically read the leftover new line character from the previous next int call, resulting in an empty string. To fix this, you can add an extra input.nextLine after next int or similar method to consume the leftover new line. When mixing next int, next double, etc. with next line, you must take this to heart as a programming tip. Okay, so we have our scanner class. So, and then displaying the output that we have been doing before, system.out.print. We have system.out.print, system.out.print line, system.out.printf. This prints a specific or a specified argument to the console without adding a new line. So you can imagine what. So this also prints the specific argument to the console and then moves the console or the cursor to the next line. Then printf provides formatted output similar to C's printf, usually for controlling the display of. We're going to practice all this as much time as we have now. Then we can also perform arithmetic operations, as you can see from this set of codes. Okay, thank you very much. Any question? Any question before we do some little demonstration? Melvis, go ahead and ask your question. Melvis, go ahead and ask your question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Please, my question is for the practical. What are the softwares we have to install in our system, sir?
Go and watch the video I shared with you people. The problem I have with you people is that when you are giving instruction, wait now, when you are giving instruction, you don't like to follow it because you have your own time, you have your own agenda. So we did a class where I explained all these things. I wanted people to follow. Someone suggested that I should give a material, but I don't give written material to my students because I know that why I don't give written material is that I know that at the end, majority of you carry it into the hall to go and write the exam. So what I do is to give you a video, you watch, and I made that video available since on Wednesday we had the class. And to my surprise, only about 20, maybe 25 persons watched that video. So I expected this your question today, and I don't think I'm going to answer it. The answer is in the previous video. So take time and do that and watch it so you know what to install. Okay. Let's go to Ama Udeara Blessing. Ama Udeara Blessing. Okay, somebody is asking where can we find the previous video, sir? The previous video is with your course rep. If your course rep has not given you the previous video, let me know. Let me know that the problem is from the course rep. Tell me your department and just write in the chat now that your course rep has not given you the link to the previous video. Okay, Ama Blessing. I guess you were the person that asked that question. I've unmuted you since, but you're not saying anything. So let's do a short practical so that we can end the class. Please, your course rep has the link. Your course rep has the link. And after this class, the video for this class, I'll also drop it on that YouTube channel, you pick it up from there and try to get the information more. Okay, so let's do a little bit of practical. Okay, I'm trying to launch my VS Code. Oh, I needed to share my screen. Okay. So for those that have unmuted, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Melvis, people should drop your hand now. Any other question? Melvis. Okay, let me lower their hands to be sure that they don't have any other thing to say. Okay. So I can just come here. Okay, for the sake of those that are joining today, let me see if I'll create a new one. I'll okay. It means I will I'll share my entire screen. I'll share my entire screen. Okay. So from what we did the last time, we have created a place where we can store our codes. So I'm going to close it up and then go to that place and then look for where I stored those materials in my document. My documents, Java programs. Okay, I may use a different method of opening VS Code. So I'll go and type CMD. So I'll say that if you have VS Code already installed in your system. Once you type code dots, it opens your VS Code. So I'm in the VS Code. I'll just open a new Java. I'll just open a new Java file. This time around, I'll call it operator. Let's start from there. Operators.java. I'll press OK. Okay. So I'll start typing. So for instance, we want to declare a variable as we have learned. I'll just say int a is equals to 5. And then if we try to do that increment that I talked about, we can now say int b is equals to plus a. Sorry, plus a. Oh, okay. We forgot that we are running Java. Okay, and so we must follow the normal process of writing a Java code. So what is the first process from what we learned yesterday? You have public class. So this first code that we learned yesterday must come in. If not, we are going to be having a lot of error. So what is the name we're going to call it? From what we learned yesterday, in fact, let's start afresh. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete operators.java, and then please follow what I'm doing. I'm going to create it and I'll call it operators with capital letter. Operators.java. So then after creating it, you can see that it has created a class operator, but he made a mistake. So I'm going to correct it and make it a capital letter. So public class operators. Then what is the next thing we did yesterday? Public class operators. Then you have the public static void main string args. Public static void main string public static void main string, then args, and you close it. Are we on course now? So this is the extent that we went yesterday, and then we just printed out something. But in this case, we want to check, want to just test the increment and decrement and maybe typecasting that we talked about. But all those codes are very simple. So let me just do the one of the increment. So I will say int a is equals to 5 with semicolon. Int b is equals to plus 5. Sorry, plus a, and end with a semicolon. Then I'll say system starts with a capital letter, system dot out dot print line. A plus, this plus now I'm putting here is not an operator. It's what we call a concatenation symbol. When you get to that point, somebody will also teach you about concatenation. But it's very simple. Using it to add two things together, to join two things together, not add in the sense of add. So once you are done with that, we can run this. So how do you run it? Javac. My terminal is already open. So I will just say Javac. Or let me do it again. For those, let's assume your terminal is not open. Let's assume that your terminal is not open. This terminal is closed. You just go to here and you look for terminal, new terminal. So if new terminal opens, just change it to command prompt. For those that are using Windows, but if you are using Mac, your terminal or Linux, your terminal will just open direct. So for Windows, try to change it to command prompt for easy manipulation. So when you do that, the next thing you can see from here that we have only hello world.class. We don't have operators.class. So for us to have operator.class, we need to do javac space operators.java. So that it can create the operators.class for us. So from there, we can now say Java operator Java operator. Oh, we encountered the problem that we encountered yesterday too. So not just Java operator. Java operator is not the name. So Java operators. So A is 6, B is 6. So let's assume we do it the other way. So pre-increment and post-increment. If you do it like this and you run and you just go and do Java operators, you still get the previous answer. The reason is because you have not compiled it again. You made changes to your source code, but you didn't change the bytecode. So you still get the previous answer. So to change it, you need to javac it again. So we do javac to generate a new bytecode, a new JVM understandable code, and then you now do Java operators. So you can see from this new one that A is now 6 because it did B first. He added A to B. He gave the value of A to B. Then after that, he now added 1 to A. That is what actually happened here. So that is for the increment. Typecasting, you can test that on your own. And so let's just do something on scanner. So I'll create a new file for scanner. I'll just say scanner or call it user inputs.java. So for us to get user inputs, it has created a class for us. But before we do anything on this class, we can try comments, using Java scanner method to get user inputs. Okay, so the first thing, remember we said in our previous class that when you are bringing in packages, when you are bringing in modules, you need to start them. You need to bring them up. So we are bringing this one now. I will say import java.util.scanner, semicolon. What are we doing here? You see the power of comments. We are importing the scanner class. That is what we are doing here. So after importing the scanner class, and these ones have been created for us, the next thing is to do public static void main args. Then we create a scanner object. How do you create a scanner object? You say scanner, the big scanner with the big letter, user inputs is equal to new. New is a keyword, then scanner with a big capital letter, then system dot in. And then you close it with a semicolon. Then after that, the next thing is to do system. This is to tell the user what to write or what to type. .out.print enter your name. Then we say the name a string should hold it, user name is equal to inputs dot next line. So this is what we did here was prompting the user to enter an input. Then here, getting the user inputs. Okay, it's showing some errors. So let's look at where the error is coming from. Okay, the error is coming from the fact that we are saying there's input and there's no such variable. So I think it has been corrected now. Okay. So we can leave it at that and come down and say system dot out dot print line. Your information. Your information. Okay. This my print line is wrong. Okay. Corrected. So we'll now have system.out.println to print that information. System.out.println. Say name, user name. Equals to user name. Username equals to username. Remember, as you are saying that I'm closing every statement with a semicolon. I'm closing every statement with a semicolon. I'm closing every statement with a semicolon. So I think we can end it here. So you can add more things as you saw in the examples I used, but let's close the scanner, this thing, and then if there's a need to add more, we can add it later. So we have scanner.close. So the next thing I'm going to do is to test this. But before I test this, you know what we are supposed to do is to do javac, convert it, get the byte version, javac space. What is the name? User inputs.java. So let's get the javac. Then after that, we now do Java user input. Remember, the user input is the name of the class. You can see what is showing here now. Your name. Say my name is Abraham Owamiri. I press enter. So you say your information, username, Abraham Owamiri. So that is the beauty of programming. Any question? If you have a question, please ask as we round up the class. I think I'm going to make it very open now so that we can talk. Please, for those of you that like mismanaging opportunity, don't mismanage this one so that everybody can talk. But for now, if you want to talk, and I think I will end the recording here so that if there are other things we want to say, we can say them. It's okay. So any question? This is my last class with you. If you have any question, ask me. You may not see me again till your exam. You have the opportunity to talk. You can unmute yourself. You want to ask a question, just ask. Okay.